What is up, everybody? Bootman here, and we're back with another Marvel Snap video. I didn't plan on making this video, but KMBest just came out with a video discussing some monetization issues, and I made a little thread on Twitter and replied, but I wanted to do a quick video about it because I disagree with my man KMBest just a little bit, and as a community, I think we need to have these discussions, all right? But before we get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Chris, aka Bootman. If you love Marvel Snap as much as I do, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell. We're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and I think we can do it. We're almost at like 6,300. It's still early in the month, all right? And make sure you head down to the description, join our awesome Discord community, and follow me on Twitter at BootmanMST. That's also linked down in the description. I'm doing monthly giveaways for the season pass, and you gotta be following me on Twitter. And because of the giveaways, that it kind of ties in to this video, all right? So a couple things, I'm gonna be glancing over at my notes because I think to form good arguments, I guess, you gotta take notes, you gotta stay on track, all right? But the other thing I wanna say is like, this isn't anything against KMBest, like I love this dude. He just started a podcast with another guy, I always forget his name, and like I have so much respect for KMBest. He's one of the best players out there, but like I'm a huge believer that we need healthy debates, okay? Just in the world in general, we need to have conversations, okay? We're not always going to agree on everything, but we need to have different perspectives, and when we challenge each other's thoughts and ideas and opinions, we all come together and find better solutions. And like I said, this is for life in general, okay? Like in my other world, I talk a lot about, like politics, social issues, all sorts of stuff. And you have to have conversations, especially when you disagree, and you gotta do it in a healthy manner. So like when I make these videos, never ever think it's like, oh, I think this guy is bad or he's wrong or whatever, because I might be wrong, okay? But when I saw this video, I was like, I do disagree with some of the things he's saying. So I will link his video down below. Go watch it because I might misunderstand things or you might agree with him more, and I'm going to summarize things. His video is 15 minutes, so take some time out of your day and watch it because KM Best does have some of the most thoughtful opinions on this game that I've heard, and like I trust what he says. But with this, I do disagree. So as you can see, we are looking, oh wait, over here, we are looking at Darkhawk, a brand new card. So some of KMBest's main arguments is that when he got Darkhawk, and he was like waiting for Darkhawk, right, to come up, and he says, when I got Darkhawk, I was able to hit Infinite easily, all right? And he did it with this deck, I'll show you right here. So it has Darkhawk and Shuri in it. So Darkhawk and Shuri, both Series 5, 6,000 tokens, okay? People have done the math. That's roughly $200 for a new card, all right? Now, it depends on what you're spending, how many tokens you're getting, all sorts of stuff, different factors and variables. I'm not a math guy, okay? But then also Zabu, which is $10. And one of his main arguments is once he had these cards, he was able to hit Infinite easily, okay? And the money and the monetization, like, is this game going to be pay to win? And he's discussing how Zabu, this new season pass card that you get for $10, all right, it synergizes so well with some of these Series 5 cards, which you have to pay for. Hey, real quick, I wanted to toss this in here. I made a thread on Twitter and KMBest actually replied. And what he said was, and this is something that you need to go check his video out, that he corrected me on, is that he said that it's best in slot. I'm still new to the card lingo. KMBest has a lot more experience in card games, everything like that, all right? So he says it's best in slot, all right? So it is the optimal card to play with Zabu. All right, so he's saying Darkhawk is the optimal card to play with Zabu. That is a main part of his argument, is that you need to pay to get the best card for this season pass card that's coming out. The synergy is too well. Now, one thing I will say is that I do think it's somewhat subjective what, the best is, but Darkhawk is very strong. Like when I think of that, I'm like, can this card be countered? That's kind of like how I think, what is the best card, right? Because something KM Best said too, it's like, there's Crossbones, Jessica Jones, Rescue, and Rescue, it can be countered, you know what I mean? But basically Darkhawk, like you don't need to add something else. So Darkhawk, the way he functions is that you have to put cards into the other person's deck. And that is obviously with Rock Slide. I think that right there is where the main issue lies, which I definitely agree with, though, that the devs need to be thinking about this, because not only is Darkhawk 4 cost, but Rock Slide is 4 cost. So Zabu reduces the cost for both of those cards. And if you're running like an Absorbing Man, it's all a mess. So something I'm thinking about, and I haven't like put hours of thought into this, is like maybe they need to change the cost of Rock Slide, so it's not being affected by Zabu as well. Is that taking Rock Slide up to 5? Is it reducing it down to 3? I don't know the answer to that. You know what I mean? Maybe taking it down to 3 is bad, because if you duplicate Rock Slide, you can play 2 on turn 6. Whatever it is, I don't know. But I think that's part of the issue. But I did want to correct myself. I'm glad KMBest pointed that out. He's a super cool dude. Like I said, he's very smart, more experienced than me. But I will say this. I think in all discussions, all arguments, all debates, you need an outside perspective, right? Sometimes if you're running a business, a company, like, and you have meetings and stuff, you need an outsider to come in with a fresh perspective. So I do think it is valuable, like not just my opinion, but anybody in the community, like even if you're not like a YouTuber or Twitch streamer or professional or someone who would hit infinite, we need to listen to all opinions, because different people see things that we're not going to be seeing. You know what I mean? But I did want to correct that, and I will do that 1,000% of the time. I never want to mischaracterize somebody's arguments or anything like that, but I will also always say, go watch this person's video in its entirety, okay? Because maybe I misunderstood something or whatever it is. So again, it's linked down in the description below, and yeah, let's go on with the rest of the video. All right, that is an issue, okay? So again, he goes more in depth. He has a lot of thoughts and opinions on this. I have made videos, trust me, I've made videos on a couple different angles of this argument, all right? $10 for a season pass, I do not think is too much money. That is one of the reasons I'm doing giveaways. Like if you are in such a strapped financial situation, I have a lot of opinions about that, but $10 helps support this game that we all love. That's the way I see it. So even if you can't afford $10 a month, like it's a subscription service, $10 is not a lot of money. And since these cards like Zabu, Silver Surfer, Black Panther are moving to Series 5, then working their way down, technically, if you come in on the season pass, you're getting a $200 card for $10. Someone said that in my chat on stream. I was like, that's a really good point, right? So you're getting a $200 card or $10, okay? But I've also discussed how, right now, things are way too expensive in the game. Like aside from the season pass, I think just about everything is ridiculously priced, okay? We had a lot of conversations about this in the chat, all right? But again, it's for this card right here. So those of you who know me, I've had a hard and fast rule. I don't think any card is worth 6,000 tokens. And since I'm Series 3 complete and I'm getting tokens faster, I'm breaking that rule. 2 cards that I plan on spending 6,000 tokens on are Darkhawk and then Shadow King when he comes out. Darkhawk, I've put a lot of thought into it. I've watched a lot of gameplay with it. It seems to blend with my style of play, okay? So I think, Darkhawk's worth it. Shadow King, again, blends with my style of play, but the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm acquiring tokens faster. And something else I always remind you, the audience, about this is, and we'll touch on this again in a little bit, is that don't chase after the cards that me or any other content creator is getting. This video right here and my other videos, they make money. KMBest makes money playing this game. The other content creators you watch, they make money playing this game, okay? So that is helping to fund moving up the collection, getting new cards and everything like that. And I'm about to dive into some psychology about all this, and one of the reasons I don't think it's a big issue, okay? So again, KMBest's main arguments is the synergy between some of these season pass cards, some of the Series 5 cards that are very expensive to get, okay? Like if you're Series 3 complete, I think they said you'll get like 6,000 tokens a month, so it's like 1 Series 5. All right, so here's the reason why I disagree. Well, reasons, okay? So one of the things that KMBest says about our buddy Darkhawk right here is, once he got the card, it was very easy for him to hit infinite. Now, let's have a discussion. What does easy mean? Does easy mean fast? Does easy mean without like too much pushback challenges? Did you skate through? Did you win 100% of your games, 80%, 90%? 70, 50. You know, what is a good success rate? What does easily mean, okay? And here's the reason why I push back on that. I just hit Infinite yesterday. I hit Infinite a day or two after KMBest, and I could have gotten Darkhawk if that sucker showed up in my shop, which he didn't. So did I hit Infinite easily? Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Because I do not have Darkhawk. I do not have Shuri. I just made a video earlier. A lot of those decks did use Shuri. But we always have to look for like what disproves an argument, right? What disproves a theory? So when we're looking at something like this and saying how strong Darkhawk is, or a lot of people are using Shuri and we're saying, oh, how powerful is Shuri? I made a video about Galactus and people are like, oh my God, Galactus, we need to nerf Galactus, right? And I made a video debunking it. So part of what I do in my other world is I debunk things, all right? Because we have to think scientifically. We have to think logically. So, is it true that you have to have Series 5 cards to reach Infinite? That answer is no. I am evidence of that. But there are many, many other examples. One of the arguments would be, well, if you haven't leveled up your collection, you're not playing against people who do this, this, and this, right? No, I'm Series 3 complete, okay? But I think there is something to be said, like KMBest and I know Jeff Hoagland, they are facing a lot more people because their collection level is so high. And from my understanding, even when you're ranking, it's more based off collection level than it is rank. Like they're facing more people like this, but they're all kind of in a similar situation, right? They've been Series 3 complete for a while. A lot of them have been playing since the beta and everything like that. So do people like me and you have to have Darkhawk and Shuri and other Series 5 cards that reach Infinite? The answer is definitively no. You do not need these cards. Now, one of the reasons I say this, and the reason why I wanted to offer my opinion, is because my play style, all right, my play style is different than others. And a lot of you here in our small little community of 6,000 subscribers, you know that I like to run the deck that I call Majantress. And this deck is basically reacting off of what the other player is doing, finding different moves to make, and countering stuff. Okay, I love to run counter cards. I've said this in other videos, if I don't have an Enchantress or a Shang-Chi in my deck, like I feel naked. I'm like, what is happening? Like there's so many situations I run into and I'm like, what's going on, right? So a lot of people have been talking about Shuri. I've been seeing so many people saying, oh, Shuri, must buy, you must get Shuri. And I'm just sitting there like, why? I ask myself why? Because me and the style of deck that I run, when I see a Shuri, like I'm cool as a cucumber. I'll face a Shuri any day of the week over like a leader, which is a Series 3 card. Every single card has a counter. The reason why I am so upset about leader is because leader does not have like a static counter. There is nothing that is just, like I cannot just put one card in my deck that will counter leader no matter what. He's a turn 6 card, okay? Where I, best case, can drop a Cosmo and hope for the best, or flood the board, or there's a few other strategies that I won't dive into. But do you see what I'm saying? These cards all have counters. We're looking at Darkhawk right here. You don't need Darkhawk. Darkhawk has 2 counters. Darkhawk is ongoing, and Darkhawk gets more than 9 power if the person is even trying, attempting to run the card right. So I can counter it with Enchantress, I can counter it with Shang-Chi, I can counter it with Rogue. There are probably other cards that I'm not even thinking of. So this is why I wanted to have this discussion, because you don't need these cards to hit Infinite. And even if you're facing a lot of people who have these cards, there are very clear counters for these cards that you get, like in like pool 2, pool 3. So I don't think this is a problem. Like, I get it. Like, there are so many cards that I want that I don't have. When I didn't have leader, I was annoyed, and now I don't even use leader. But last season, during Silver Surfer season, I didn't get Brood until like one of my very last cards. Like Brood was just one of my last cards. I couldn't properly run a Surfer deck. Oh, and I didn't have Mystique, so I couldn't do like a Patriot Surfer deck. Like there's a lot of things I couldn't do, but I've hit Infinite the last 2 seasons in a row. So one of the things I love about this game and why I'm not a huge fan of these conversations and why I want to push back on them is because one of the cool things about this game is there are counters for everything. You don't have to have everything. But I think the issue lies more here with our psychology, all right? So let me change the view. Let me just get you on Chris, all right? So are you following me here? One, we have living proof all around us that you do not need Series 5 cards or even Series 4 cards to hit Infinite, all right? Just because you see people doing it doesn't mean there aren't a million other people who are doing it without those cards, okay? $10 is not a lot for a season pass, okay? Like I will die on that hill. Like I'll be very blunt, okay? I just wanna be honest with you guys because I hope you just reevaluate your situation. Like, if you cannot find $10, like, you need to assess, like, is Marvel Snap something that you should even be, putting a lot of focus into? If not, it needs to be very casual where you don't even care about these cards, okay? Like, if you ever need to, like, hit me up on Discord, on Twitter. Like, I am the side hustle king. I will help you find a way to work for $10 to get this season pass, and I am doing giveaways. $10 is not a lot of money. If it was like $20, $30, $40, yes. Like $20 is like me sitting there like, I gotta put gas in my car, you know what I mean? But once a month, $10, you're getting a $200 value. I will die on that hill, and I am a very progressive leftist. I believe in like, I don't care like telling you guys this, I believe in like universal healthcare, free college, all that kind of good stuff. But I will sit here and tell you $10 is not a lot of money, okay? So if it is upsetting you that much, you need to find a side hustle that will make you $10 in once a month. That's $1 a day for 10 days that you gotta find. All right, so anyways, I'll move off from there. But the other thing is there are counters to all of these strong, powerful cards, all right? So this is where I disagree. The last thing I wanna do is I wanna wrap up and discuss the psychology. I was gonna make this a whole separate video, but let's just toss it right up in here, okay? My background is in mental health. I read a lot about psychology, sociology, how we interact with each other, okay? For those of you who don't know, I'm a recovering drug addict. Mental health is a huge part of my life, my personal well-being. My mental health comes ahead of everything because if I don't keep this in check, I could relapse, I could die, son loses a father. That's a whole nother story, okay? So I read hundreds of books a year. Yes, you heard that right. I read hundreds of books a year. I think I finished 2022, I'd have to check my Goodreads, like 250 plus books. The year before, I read 350, all nonfiction. And like I said, some of my main topics that I enjoy reading about are psychology, sociology, philosophy, and I want you to understand why people are so upset about these things. Because it's not that it's pay to win, it's because I just debunked that. I just debunked that. You can counter these cards and you don't need those cards to get to infinite. So it's not pay to win because you can win without those cards. So what is it? What is going on in our minds that makes us think that we need these cards? Well, first off, let's talk about the psychology of FOMO, fear of missing out, all right? A lot of you, the viewers out there, a lot of people, and like, hey, you're gonna have to deal with some uncomfortable truths. This is something I have to do on a regular basis. Some of you, the viewers, are out there, and I have to check this in myself, is you are watching YouTubers, you are watching creators, you are watching Twitch streamers, maybe you're seeing people on Twitter, right? They're all talking about these brand new shiny cards. These brand new shiny cards, and you want them. You want them because you don't have them. And you're so laser focused on these cards that you can't think of everything else that can counter these cards. All right? Are you seeing what I'm saying? The tunnel vision is on these cards, and you get into this negative kind of mindset of, if I do not have this, then I cannot win. It's almost like saying like, oh, if I don't have this new car, then I cannot drive. No, you can get a used car, right? You can get an old hoopty. Like when I first got sober, I was buying $500 cars off Craigslist and just driving them until they broke down, saved up another $500 after riding the bus, getting a new one, okay? So there was a fear of missing out on these things. That is the true reason, because it is not reality-based to say, I need these cards to hit infinite. That is not the case. Until we start seeing decks that are impossible, I repeat, impossible to beat with Pool 3 free-to-play cards, until we start seeing that happen, which we have not yet, I'm not gonna agree with it. So, the first thing we have to address is our fear of missing out, okay? We are social creatures. We want what other people have. But the next thing is, this dives into sociology, and it's something called conspicuous consumption. Not only are we afraid of missing out, but we want things to impress other people, okay? And this is another uncomfortable truth. We want these cards to show other people as a sign of status. Look at me. I have the thing that all of the best players like a KMBest or these other people, these YouTubers, all of them are talking about these cards. I'm like that. Look, I have this thing, okay? Like, a great example, I don't know if you guys remember like the Supreme shirts, the Supreme, right? And they're charging like $200, $300, just a red shirt with a white logo. That is conspicuous consumption. It is buying something to show your status. There's nothing special. There was nothing special about those shirts, but if somebody saw you wearing that shirt, they're like, that person has money. It's the same reason why Gucci, Louis Vuitton, they have very specific looks. They have branded colors, all right? It's the same thing with, expensive cars. It is a way to show off your status. So again, take a step back. Do you only want these cards to show off your status? Because again, we've already discussed how it is not reality-based to say that you need these cards to hit infinite, because you just don't, all right? So check in with yourself. Do you have a fear of missing out? Do you actually want these cards so you can impress people, so you can show people, look, I got that nice little win with a Galactus. Look how big I got this card because I had Shuri. Oh, look what I did with Darkhawk. Is it for bragging? Because if it is, we still don't have a problem. That's a you problem, it's not a game problem, all right? The last thing I wanna talk about, which helps me keep my head straight on a daily basis, is separating wants versus needs, okay? Wants versus needs, okay? I am 37 years old. I do not own a house, and I haven't, and who knows if I ever will. If you're a millennial, you know exactly what I mean. And I'm a millennial who wasted 10 years of my life in a drug addiction, right? But now that I'm financially secure, even where I'm at, I don't have a house, but that house is a want, not a need, okay? So in the situation with these cards, a lot of these cards are wants and they are not needs. They are wants, they are not needs. Now, in the context of a video game that we're playing, right? Having fun, but even if you're competitive, like I'm a competitive gamer. Trust me, if something was broken, I'm gonna scream from it about it from the rooftops. But right now, these are all wants because I have counters for all these cards. Now, if I cannot counter these cards and I need cards that are in those Series 4 and Series 5, now they have become needs, okay? Do you see what I'm saying? We have to separate our wants versus our needs. A lot of people are upset, freaking out, making arguments about this because of wants and not needs, all right? So what you need is cards to counter these. In the context of Marvel Snap, the only thing you need is cards that will counter these. That you can get on the free track, all right? So again, I think a lot of things are way too expensive in this game. I totally get it. I want more cards, keyword being want. I'm in the same boat as all of you, right? Now, I guess the last thing I will say is KMBest discusses a lot in here, the friction between different things with what, the community wants, what the devs are doing. We understand that they have to, make money, keep this thing rolling. They also have very specific plans for the game. They don't want people to spend too much money and make it pay to win. They also want it to be a slow kind of just slogging through the collection track to get these things. So the tough situation that I see the devs coming into, right, the creators, Ben Brode, all of these people, is dealing with the psychology, okay? I just explained to you a bunch of psychology, which I hope helps you, the few thousand people who might see this video. I hope that helps you a ton, but the vast majority of people don't understand that. So in their brain, they need these cards. But now I've just kind of taught you that these are wants. So you see what I mean? So as a company, they have to battle with something that's going on inside people's heads that they don't even realize is happening. you know? So that I think is the biggest issue. And in that case, I 1000% agree with KM Best, right? Because a lot of people will just never understand or never be introduced to some of these things that we just talked about how the brain's working. But one of the most fun parts about this game, for me, is the creativity. I'm a creative person. I have multiple YouTube channels. I'm a writer. I had a podcast. I love to read. I'm a creative person. And like when I run into different challenges, different problems, it's like a puzzle to solve, right? If I'm running into a bunch of Shuris, if I'm running into a bunch of Darkhawks, if I'm running into a bunch of Galactuses, it's like, all right, cool. Like, what can I do to get around that? How do I do this? You know what I mean? And I tap into my own brain, then I use the community, I ask other people, I go and I watch other videos. Like that is part of the fun of this game. Like, do you know how nice it feels beating a Galactus who just snapped on you like they can't be beat? Do you know how much I love when someone like pops a Shuri and snaps on me and I have a Shang-Chi just waiting in their face? Like, I don't know about you, like, I love beating people who spent 6,000 tokens on some of these cards. Like, that is part of the fun of this game. And I talked way too long, but like, I hope this video provided all of you with some very, very important information because these conversations, like KM Best says in his video, these conversations are going to keep coming up over and over and over. And for any of you watching this, I am going to turn into a broken record. I'm going to say this over and over and over again, okay? Because until these wants turn into needs, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. We just got to battle with our own psychology and, keep it moving. But there are plenty of decks. It's why I make so many videos about different decks that can get you to infinite because people are doing it without these cards. All right. So again, like I said, I totally respect KM Best's opinion. You might disagree with me. He might disagree with me. Let me know down in the comments. Again, as a community, we need to have healthy debates and discussions. The devs, hopefully they get involved and we have these conversations together. But I wanted to chime in because something that I try to do is talk about things I don't see people talking about. And I think diving into the psychology, some of the philosophy, sociology of all this, kind of important. All right, but anyways, that was long enough. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell, and join our awesome Discord community down in the description below. Follow me on Twitter at BootmanMSTZ. I am giving away season passes. If you do not win one, hit me up. I will help you find $10 utilizing your skills. We'll make it happen. You will never, ever, ever, ever miss out on one of these season passes again. I promise you that. All right. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. And I have another video coming out in a little bit. This was an impromptu one. So yeah, I'll see you soon.